everybody, welcome to episode 2. This is the mate Scott Clark Fulton. He's gladly come along just to kind of share his story for Football and the Blues. As I said to you before, if anybody hasn't already, please subscribe on the YouTube channel. This is not a programme that's going to be making any money at all. If anything, we'll be giving money to charity. And if anybody wants to come on the show, then by all means just give me a message. It's important we get the message out there, and just to kind of educate people in ways that alcohol's just kind of ruining society, and it's not the 1980s or the 1990s anymore.
When it was good.
When it was good, aye. So listen, first, Scott, welcome.
Cheers, thanks, mate. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, mate. I know I'd stalked you a wee bit on Instagram. I seen I'm always, and I said this to Scott earlier, I'm always looking out for people, and everything happens for a reason. And I seen your story, and I seen the things you were posting, and I thought, you know what, that's right up my street, because it's somebody that's on the same journey. Do you know, it's somebody that's somebody that's got that in their head to say, this is what I'm going to do, and to be, for once, to be selfish in the right ways. Do you know, and I think that's the important thing. And it's when I seen your posts, I went, do you know what, I'll reach out to you and see if you'd be willing to come on and be a guest. And thankfully, so
definitely.
First, before I start, you need to show everybody the Christmas jumper.
That's it, Christmas jumper, right up to the work. And by the way, where I work is Cafe Asia, your head if you want to come up. If you wear your Christmas jumper, you get a free pint or a free house.
A free pint?
Complimentary, but it's a pint of juice you'll be getting.
I'm trying to get people off the drink.
I know, but I only want to put that out. I didn't mean to say that. No.
I'm not kidding, mate. I'm not kidding. But no, listen, it's good to have you on, mate.
Pint of fresh orange and lemonade.
Pint of fresh orange, and I'm on the Coke. And the Coca-Cola. So just a bit from myself. What about yourself?
Well, I'm 27. 27, and I've lived in this rabbit hole for the past 10, 11 years. I was brought up in a nice wee place in East End, Mount Vernon, and I was brought up with my grandparents, and I couldn't thank them enough for bringing me up as a kid, because my mum and dad were mentally ill. They actually met in the I call it the loony bin, but I shouldn't really do that, but it's called the mental health hospitals. But back in the day it was the loony bin, like years ago, because there was none of this help out there. You were just kind of sectioned and put in the asylums. So I grew up in Mount Vernon. Great wee upbringing. Everywhere in the world I've been, do you know what I mean? Florida, America, and Spain, you name it, I've been there with my grandparents. And as I say, my grandfather's still alive today, and I know he's going to watch this and go, what you doing on a pod, what you doing, say, you doing? But do you know what, it's 2022 now, do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people struggling out there, and as my granda knows, that if it wasn't for my granda looking after me last year when I was mentally ill, didn't move out my room for 6 months, I was bedbound basically. I was so bad, I had crazy thoughts. We'll get to that later on.
No, that's it. And listen, see the important thing is, and I know, what's your grandpa's name?
Jackie,
listen, I know what Scott's saying, and it's 2022, mate. We need, it's not working, the system's broken, we can't keep letting, and this isn't just to you, Jackie, trust me, pal, but this is, we need to open up discussion with guys, because I'm a man's man, Scott's a man's man, we're all men's men until we hit rock bottom. Do you know, I hit rock bottom, Scott hit rock bottom, my mate Rab hit rock bottom. There's too many guys in society now that are hitting rock bottom, and if Scott's story helps any of these guys, if Rab's story, if my story, if any of them help anybody, then we're on the right road, do you know? And it's going to take everybody to band together with us, because it's no going away, do you know? It's if anything, it's getting bloody worse, because there was something I watched last night, and that's what they were saying, it's easier to get a couple of gram or a carry-out dropped off to your house than it is for a kebab, do you know?
That's true.
That's disgusting, but it's just a sad indictment of modern society where we are in 2022. Sorry, mate, so just a wee bit on your...
so just get Mount Vernon, the posh part of the East End, as they call it.
Yes, I know it, but I would go to my aunties, because I'm originally from Rutherglen, but we would go through Cambus Lang, and then under the bridge, take a right to go your way, but you would head on to Shettleston.
Aye.
Shettleston's a lovely part of Glasgow.
That's where a lot of my dramas happened as well. So it was like, growing up, school was alright, but it wasn't until, I know I'm jumping ahead a wee bit, but it wasn't until the 19th of this month I'm going to get diagnosed with ADHD. But I've always known there was something up with me in a sense, but not in a bad way. It's just hyperness, and everybody who's watching this and you know me, it'll be like, how did you even need a drink or a drug? Because I'm already a rabbit, I'm already 100 mile an hour.
But it's the way, and I've done the same. I think it's, you drink to mask the fact
the pain
that,
or whatever.
Aye, it's maybe to mask the pain, but also I'm a funny guy and an open guy and a genuine guy, but you're insecure as well. You make jokes to hide your insecurities.
So like
and it's the exact same, and that's why you drink.
Like growing up, as I say, I was always a class clown, as they call it. I was jumping into conversations and just wouldn't let anybody speak, and I'm still like that to this day. Some people need to tell me to shut up for a minute. I'm like, right, okay. But now I've learned the triggers, how to deal with it, because I'm not saying medication doesn't help for anybody else, or somebody might need something in their life. I did at one point for 6 months, and then I thought to myself, well, if I'm coming off illegal drinking drugs, how can you go into a prescription? Do you know what I mean? But as I say, some people are different, and some people with maybe seriously ill mental health or whatever, or manic depressions it used to be called, which is bipolar. You might need something, do you know what I mean? But that doesn't matter, each to their own in that kind of sense.
But see, the thing is, mate, I mean, two points that I can take out of that, mate, is you said that you hit the nail on the head. It's like you're going to come off prescription drugs, you're going to come off illegal drugs to go to prescription drugs, and at the end of the day,
it's all mind-altering substances still.
But the pharmaceutical companies don't want people to get better, because that's what keeps them ticking out.
Exactly.
And it's easy enough for a doctor to just come out and say, well, there you go, there's some sertraline, or there you go, just boof, get them into you.
I know people who's been on there for 10. I know people who's been on there for 10 years, and they can't get off them there.
And it's easy, but it's easy for the doctors to do that. And that's like, I read Frank Bruno's book. Big Frank Bruno fan. You're maybe too young to remember when he was.
Don't remember,
but he was a massive celebrity, and they used to. He was cutting the grass at Ibrox. He was just away, but he needed that armour on his shoulder, and nobody gave him it. And that's what Frank was saying. The amount of people that get lost in the system, and they're just away, Scott. Do you know? And it's funny, just with you saying that, with being the class clown. I mean, that was me, that was Rab, that's you. It's funny, there is these wee traits, but the other point that I was going to get to is it's funny with you saying that we're all different.
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, I said it in the first podcast, and I'll say it again. Mine was to just get rid of my coping technique was to just really try my damnedest to get away from the guys that I was hanging about with all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know, weekend after weekend, and it just becomes that dangerous circle. That was what I'd done in mindfulness as well, which we'll get into. But you were different. You were saying that you went to CA as well, which we'll get on to.
I will go into that in a wee bit.
It was the same with Robert as well. Rab went to CA. Do you know, I know a lot of guys that
and CA is Cocaine Anonymous, if anybody's looking to know. And there's a website, you just Google CA Glasgow. There's meetings all in Glasgow, all day, every day, morning, noon, night. There's Zoom calls, there's anything at all out there.
And see what Scott's saying there, that is really, really important. It's the fact that, as I'd said to you before, when I come in on a Monday, it's not for my benefit, it's just in case anybody wants a wee chat, and just for me to maybe impart some of the things that Scott's teaching me, or Rab's teaching me, or that I know myself. It's just to try and signpost people to get the best possible help, guys. And I can't stress that enough. That's from the bottom of my heart. Anybody that needs help, then please do
get in touch.
When did you start the drinking?
It all started off with green for me. I think it was like in school. I think it was high school. I think we were dogging school one day doing the scrammy, as they called it in Mount Vernon. That was the scrammy. It was just a big field of grass and the railway track was there. And we were just went down there and dog school. And I remember my best mate, Taylor, man, been best pals in primary one. And me, him, and my pal Matt. I'm still pals with Matt, but you know what it's like. You drift away, different journeys, different paths, and we've all had problems, to be honest with you. So we were doing dogging it one day, and I think I took it.
So dogging it, by the way, for any of the Chelsea boys or anybody down south, dogging it is very, very different in England to Scotland. Scotty boy wasn't standing at a car doing things whilst other people were doing things to each other.
We weren't going to school.
Dogging it is playing truant for the English people. Sorry mate, when you go.
Right. So we're playing truant.
Yes, that's it. Very PC.
When they going to school, it was like maths and English, patch that. So anyway, we're doing the scrammy and I don't even know who it was. I don't even know how it came about, but I think somebody had a bit of hash. I don't even think green was about then. We're just coming out the green.
The council.
The council hash, jaggy bits, fibre bits and all that, man, it's aye. But so with a couple of draws it, man, I had the giggles right away, man. My stomach was going all in. I couldn't stop laughing, so like I was dead young, so obviously Mount Vernon, it's like in a good area and everybody there were good people and you had the class clowns like me and like a few others jumping about. But that started getting into a daily thing.
So see with that mate, right? And you say about the green and the council, which is just a block of Moroccan or whatever the hell it is. So like with the soapy council, but what I'm getting at mate is like me and Rob done that. I think we all done it. I'm pretty sure plenty of people in this done it as well. But would you say that there is that? I mean, I've got an addictive personality.
Definitely, I'm the same. I'm addicted to coffee and vapes and everything else now.
Coffee, I can't survive without coffee. But there's many people out there that haven't got that. Like they can go out and get a drink.
Don't get me wrong, I've got pals.
It's important to say, you guys, we're not saying to people, listen, don't do drugs.
The thing is, you know you've got a moderation. The simple way to put it down is my sponsor said to me, when you start, can you stop? And my answer right away was no. It was no. It was as soon as I pick up a drink, I can't put it down. If it's time to go home, I'm at any house that's got drink. I would go to England for a drink if I had to. I would chase it to the next level and see if I didn't have it, I'd be in my bed depressed. That's the only way. That's when you know you're an addict as well, and we'll get into all that kind of stuff as well. But
so see with that mate, and as I said, it's like starting off. I think we all started off in that, and the bottles that wee pound bottles of cider and all that. And that
3 L's it was back in my day. Like 3 L's. Remember you were White Lightning and but it was Eldorado and all that. Cheap. It was 3 L's of Frosty Jacks and Mad Dog and Buckfast that we started on.
That was it, and that was society.
Doing spinnies with your 3 L and then like, oh, can't you walk, man?
Buckets and all that. My lungs still feel the effects of that.
Same, man, same.
So with that, mate, when did you when did you progress? I know you were saying.
Can I not get into too much at the one time? But my mum passed away suddenly, just sudden death when I was 13. I remember it to this day. I was sitting playing my Xbox in my grand's room, in my room, my granny and granda's, and my auntie came up and she was like, I don't know. I remember this day. She's like, your mum's passed away, but it's all right. We're going down to see if we can get her revived and brought back to life. But I must have been pure oblivious to this, and it sounds as sad as it sounds. It was like I put my headphones back on and started playing Call of Duty again.
See that's funny, mate. I can remember. I know it's not funny.
No.
It's funny the way that when you're presented with stuff like that, because I remember my dad coming in and saying to me that my grandpa had passed away, and I burst out laughing. It's just when
I don't know, but I'm that young. I'd never really lost anybody close to me, and I wasn't so close to my mum and my dad. I've got a good relationship with my dad now. He's still mentally ill in the hospital and stuff, but I've got a good relationship with him. I phone him every day. But when my mum died, it was my granny was my mum, right, and my granda, you're my dad still. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's like they brought me up as a kid. They've raised me to who I am today, and all I've did all my life is make them ashamed, really, right? Now, I know I'm doing this for me, but I want to do this to make my granda proud, because he's the best. You're the best guy. You're the best guy in the world. You're simply the best. You're definitely. And I wasn't here. I was off the radar. I wasn't so much after the rails when my mum died. I was a young boy, but that progressed. So when my mum died, I don't really remember much of school because I was that fried, right? That's the only way to explain it. Constantly, it must have been about 15 then, right? So about 15, started going out, it was drinking half bottles of wine, and that had been doing Carmyle we were hanging about, and because Mount Vernon never really had a scheme like all the older ones, and then when I was growing up, it kind of faded away. So we were at Carmyle, then it was Baileyson, Swinton, Barrel, Easterhouse. Honestly, it was just like a big round the block, getting into all these different gangs, into this culture. And I was always at the back of the gang, right? So they'd be up gang fighting Carmyle, they'd be up gang fighting in the bridge, and I've seen people with their ears bit off, people flung off the bridge into the Clyde, dying, and I'm always at the back, and that's what my teacher said, why you being the class clown, and you're a good boy, why you being like this? And I think I just wanted to fit in, because I was brought up to man up, right? Man up, bloke after yourself, anybody hits you, you hit them fucking back 10 times harder, right? That, no, I don't know if it's like that nowadays, because I think it's actually illegal to even smack your own Wayne's bum nowadays, so I was always brought up to man up, but I never had my granddad's kind of personality or his kind of side, right? I'm more like my granny and my man, Manny, I'm not saying her name because she's rude, but Manny, so I'm always kind of, I'm a dead soft, gentle guy, right? But see, when I was on the drink and the drugs, man, I thought I was invincible. I thought I was like Superman, honestly.
But you're right as well, Scott, and that's kind of how it starts, eh? It's like everybody does start that way, and I know they say with heroin users and abusers that it's always chasing the dragon, but when you start that way, and it goes on for years and years, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, because you're not getting that same, like, it's the same with the drink, the hangovers get worse.
It really gets it now.
Do you know that everything it rips out you the next day, and you're sitting there with the fear? Aye, with the fear. And the only thing that's going to make you better is that fucking that one line or that one drink, and it all kicked off for me now. Rangers, right? But not really get into the fit, but we will because we're here. I always brought up, went to every game. My granddad had me a season book every year. The Bristol Bar supporters bus, good banging, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant grandfather, honestly, dad even as I call him. But so where was I getting to the fit bus? So I was just young, and I'm going on the bus at 15, 16, and I'm having a half bottle of wine, and my granddad's probably like that, right, pick £2 on 16, son, right? So that's when the gambling eventually came into play, do you know what I mean? But I'm at the fit bit 16, 15, and then I'm thinking, look, I'm Billy Big Boss, I'm going to get in with the Union Bears, but I never fitted in that crowd, right? But I jump about, and I was jumping about, being on a date, right? I'm not saying that everybody is, but I was just being on a date, really. Half bottles of wine, and then I think, don't know if it was really when I started working in nightclubs, right? So that's kind of fast forwarding again when I was 17, fake IDs and all that, you know what I mean? I'm Chrissy, by the way, but really I'm Scott, and I started working in there. I thought your name was Chrissy. No, it's Scott, I'm just in a fake ID for 3 years. Right. But what really hurt me was my family were trying to look after me, right, and never told me that my gran had cancer at first, right? So I never knew, but I was still out getting mad with it, coming in, causing it, having parties when she was in the hospice and all that, and I never even really knew the ins and outs. I never knew the full story until I was staying at my dad's, and this again I missed her dying as well, because I was at my dad's in Paisley, sitting smoking fucking weed all day. My dad's mentally ill anyway, so he didn't care. He was just, do you know what I mean? He's really ill, so I was just kind of using him to stay with him, and I got a phone call, your gran's dead, and I'm like, so, aye. So see, when you said that, I mean, I know that wasn't a phone call, by the way, your gran's dead. I mean, but that's me putting it simple. It's like, you know, that when this happens, when everybody's got the drink or the drunks or whatever it is, they kind of plateau and they drink and drugs and drugs. But with yourself, did that? I take it that obviously the adverse effect. I just went AWOL. Okay. I always held down a job. Always worked in. My first ever job was actually in PR with Scotty Spence, man. And, don't say names. And the nightclubs and that. It was great. It was great, man. I loved it. I thought I was, yes, I'm 18 and I'm out in the clubs working and out doing this and doing that. That was great, but then same again. It's the drugs, man. The town, our society is swarmed with cocaine. Cocaine, anywhere you go, it's just coke's there, drinks there, and you mix the two of them together. The drink is getting you drunk, the coke's sobering you up and keeping you awake, and then the coke's wearing off, and you're like, I need more. And that's where it just all goes to. That's what it comes to with the greed, and it's... You're smoking green to bring you down, you're taking gear to pick you up, you're drinking to get you mad with it. Before you know it, you're maybe on to street Valium or Valium at the time, when they were real back then. Now they're just off, I don't know what they are. You're taking them to get you a dinner, you're smoking a joint to get you sleep, then you're taking a line to get you up again. It's mad. See, the funny thing is though, it's like, I mean, you said that yourself. Class clown, the happy guy, the decent guy, and all the rest of it. That's me. The guy I'm over now. That's me. I've never felt this since. It's funny, I know, but it's funny how it takes you all the years. And listen, mate, you're 27, I was 35, 36 before I acted like an adult, do you know, and stopped the drinking, and just it's funny how some days you have that epiphany and you just go, do you know, the penny drops and you go, do you know what, no more. And I've never been happier.
Never have, honestly, never been happier.
It's amazing when you get that when the penny does drop and you get that feeling of just going, do you know, that's me a month I've had a drink, that's me 2 months, 3 months. For yourself, what's that?
5 months on the 19th for this month.
So there you go, and listen, a round of applause for me, because at the end of the day, it takes society tells you that you've got to be a big man to drink. It takes an even bigger man to admit he's got a problem, and an even bigger man to hit it face on and say, listen, I'm going to get help, which he clearly did, mate.
No,
and listen,
definitely.
for anybody out there that is struggling, listen, message me, message Scott, just message Rab.
I will say, I
can't
can't fix you. I can only advise you in how I maybe change my ways, and we'll get into that shortly.
That's the same as well, and as I say, I'm no bloody Mother Teresa, far from it, but at the end of the day, I come in here every Monday and I'm always here to signpost, like, if there's anybody with a problem. And we had a guy a few years back, he was ex-forces, and I got the guy help with somebody at Erskine. Do you know, and it's these kind of things I know from past experiences, where to put somebody, where to sign.
Yeah, definitely, I'm the same.
Do you know, go
I'm
this
the
way, go
same.
that way.
I wish it was longer today, because I've got so much to say. And like where so we'll get into it, right? So we went for, what did we finish up in there?
So you're going
the nightclubs, right?
Nightclubs.
So I was homeless, signing hostels, and girlfriend after girlfriend, you know what it's like, and
good old days.
I had the good old days, you know what I mean? And I'm getting dropped off at for the nightclub, and I'm like, no, I stay in a nice flat, just drop me off here, I'll walk round the corner. Like, I didn't want to be ashamed of people knowing that I stayed in a hostel, which nowadays, by the way, there's nothing to be ashamed of, because you can't actually get a council flat without going to the homeless, because you know why, do you know what I mean?
See that as well, and that's true with what you're saying, and that's something that I've learned. It's just you're basing your thoughts on what other people think as well.
Exactly.
At the end of the day,
when you get older, I think all that just like, no, what, this is my life. It's, if you've got something to say about it, or you've got something to say it, but keep it yourself, because I don't care what anybody thinks. That's exactly. What I think now. And
that's the way to do it, mate. And we spoke before the podcast, and I said that to Scott. I said, listen, that's what life is. It's about just realising if there is a problem and just taking a step back, and if you've got to change things in your life, you change things in your life. I've read more books in the last 3 or 4 years than I have 40 years of my bloody life.
I've got loads of books.
It's reading and learning and learning from other people's past experiences. And like me and Rabbit spoke about it on the last podcast, it's the mindfulness and the meditation and reading up about Buddhism, and it's all this good stuff that the world's a big bloody place. You know, it's not just Glasgow as a wee dot on a map.
No.
And
Glasgow's actually the cocaine capital of Europe. That's scary. You think of Liverpool and all that, and we're the capital. It's bad.
I've got to be good at something, mate. They do say people make Glasgow, you know, so maybe we're all just hooked up and having a laugh.
But so we got to the homelessness and that, and then I got a flat in Shettleston Road. Everything was kind of the same again. My granddad's pulled me out that many holes, it's unbelievable, and he couldn't do it anymore eventually when I got older. I was like, I didn't expect him to. But went there, and that's when I started, I took Eckies, right, that's when the Eckies came into the play after the green, the booze, the Eckies, everybody's your pal when you've got a house, right, everybody's your pal. Oh, what's happening, bro, I'll buy your drink, I'll buy the Eckies, I'll buy the gear, because it's your house. But see the next week when they left, not even a day, the next week or the next month, who's left to pick up the pieces? Me, and a fucking crack den, as I call it. That's what it was, a total crack den. I destroyed that house, I destroyed relationships with everybody that I'd actually made amends to, because I went through this programme with Action for Children, and I actually started working with them as well, being like a support worker, it was like a business and admin, helping young people 16 to 24, and they're still a charity out there just now. They do loads of things, Action for Children, look them up, they're honestly, they're based in Govan and also Parkhead. They pull me out so many holes, they do loads of things for women and guys, babies and mental health, so today I've looked them up, but without them, so I was in the hostel and had this worker called Erin, and I'm still good friends with Erin just now. She's like my wee second mammy, always seen the good in me like everybody else, and she pulled me out the holes and got a job with them. But I was still drinking and taking eckies and going to raves while I'm preaching Monday to Friday, don't do this and don't do that, and I'm out at the weekend doing the opposite.
Aye. But it's similar to myself, mate. I mean, I was going on to sites and telling guys, don't you be drinking at the weekends and you behave yourself, and this is Monday morning when I'm still stinking a drink and taking a toolbox talk to the guys and going, and they're looking at me going, Craig, are you okay? Because it's one of the guys.
Yeah.
But it's like, listen mate, just a couple of things for me on that. It's like, something you said there, very, very important. It's breaking the cycle. It's having that circle that you're going drink and drugs and circle, work and drink and drugs, and it's going and going. Break the cycle. Scott just said to you there, if you need to, look at your local charities, look at these guys that are needing a hand. Break the cycle. Just go, bloody volunteer, do a bit of Friday work, Saturday, Sunday. Kids go out and play football. Go, find out where your local charity is and break that cycle. Rather than get out on a Friday night, just say Saturday morning you're going to go play football, rugby, tiddlywinks, whatever it is with the kids, and go bloody do it. Do you know, break that cycle. And I tell you, wake up on the Sunday and tell me how you feel. I guarantee you'll feel a million times better. So, do you know, break it.
While I was going through the Action for Children programme, we were putting people through their CSCS cards, and I'm like, so at this time I'm like, money, right? I'm like, how can I get more money? So I'm like, right, so big guy Davey, man, he was great. He was a health and safety manager, David Travers. He was brilliant for Action for Children.
You know that name?
You know him, done PASMA training in Glasgow and all that.
He
was brilliant, Davey, you know him.
Definitely, I know the name.
So I was like, how can you go into it? Because I've got an uncle who was in joinery as well. So anyway, they put me through it was a 12-week programme. Can't remember the name of it. A youth building, that was it. Youth build course for Action for Children, 12-week programme. Get your CSCS, your PASMA, health and safety, toolbox talks, manual handling, you name it. You've actually got more qualifications than a lot of guys in sight before you even jump in. So
who does that? Is that Scottish?
Action for Children, so it's like a funding. So Action for Children, but you get loads of funding for different things. But Action for Children, I'm sure they still do it.
So that's important for young ones.
16 to 24.
16 to 24, if you're...
It might be 26 now, I don't know about 24.
So if you're maybe an 18-year-old, 20-year-old, 22, whatever you are, and you're listening to this, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm maybe working a night shift, stacking shelves, or I want to get into construction, or joinery, or whatever. What Scott's saying there is spot on, and if anybody needs coaching, I'm a health and safety manager as well, so it's all these wee things. I've been thinking the last few years about how to give back into society.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and the things that you're saying here is absolutely spot on. Like what you were saying about the addiction side of it, but also the training. That's really important for kids. It's the awareness of what this is doing, and that's why when I'm going to be looking at it 2023, still having my Monday here, but a Friday, I'm going to be going to the schools. Might need a hand off you, might need a hand off Rab, some other boys like another boy.
I know you're phoning me now, Granda, but I'm...
So I might need a hand off some of you guys to bring you into this project that I'm going to be looking at, and it's just to give back and let the kids know that you're a hell of a lot younger than me, but I would rather do this before we become like pensioners. Nobody wants to see an old dude.
It's all about life experience when you're young.
Of course it is.
So I've done that with Action for Children, and then my uncle took me on just on site labouring. But same again, building sites around, don't take this the wrong way. If your heat's screwed on, do it, but building sites riddled, man, you're in here in a bucket in the morning before you're working and you're smoking joints at lunch, but you're functioning. Well, I was functioning anyway, most of the guys were functioning. And then what happened there with I was doing labouring for ages, but I was like, I want to do joinery, I kind of picked it up. So I started thinking around agencies and sites, and I was going to a site in lying to folk and saying, by the way, I've been doing joinery for a year, I can put screws in, will you take me on? And this is when my life started getting good, back in maybe 6 years ago when I was 21, 22, started getting good, right, and I had my heat screwed on. My big tradesman Tony, I love him to bits, he's some boy, man, he's honestly, what a finishing joiner and what a guy. I wish I listened to him through the years with telling me all the stuff that I'm now telling you, because if I listened at the time, I'd maybe be a bit further ahead in my career.
Of course.
But Tony was great, and Martin as well, can't fault Martin, he was brilliant as well. So I went into doing joinery, SFS, it was MetSec, we done it, it was building new schools, hotels, hospitals, or the Queen Elizabeth, all in Edinburgh, mostly Edinburgh, it wasn't in Glasgow, unfortunately. and then I started getting like £1 a week, right? And money's no happiness, and it doesn't bring you happiness, and I can tell you that. Because I was staying at my granddad's, kidding myself on. I'd met a girlfriend, and that's my ex-girlfriend. She was great, and she tried to help me through my troubles as well, while I was lying to myself and saying I've not got a problem. She's seen it, and I kept hiding it from her. I was going in for my work and taking like a half gram in the toilet and flushing the plug, right, so she wouldn't hear me sniffing it. We went out for like 2-3 years, and she was great, and honestly can't fault you. Because she was brilliant, and she tried to help. She honestly, she knows who she is. She would be great, and her family were brilliant as well. Always try to tell me, Scott, you're a good boy. Why are you doing this? And I'm like, I'm just a wee mouse in the corner. I don't want to talk to MD. I was out doing deliveries every night for Indy and sniffing gear, freaking doing daft things. You know what I mean? I was doing silly things. Then we lost a baby together as well, so that it was really hard, and I didn't really show my full love and support with the way I would know, because I'm clean. So that kind of had a big part to play in it as well. And I had every chance under the sun where, do you know what I mean? It was like, come on, change please, I love you. And I said, I know I love you too, and I promise I'll change. And it all just fell apart. It was my last chance. We were out in the hootenanny, and what did I do? Took gear, took drugs, kicked the fucking shop windows in. Or wherever it was, because I don't know why I get into trouble for that, but I done daft things. Went to work the next day, eating my eyes out, please, but that was it. Or that was there, like, that is it, done. And that was 2 years ago coming up, just past 2 years, July 2020, August 2020, while COVID had just happened, so we just moved into a flat in Steps. I was working day shift, site supervisor, done my triple STS Black Hat. Site supervisor, running a job. I was going to my pal's shop at night to make his booth 2 metres, like for the COVID thing. I was never in, and then when I was in, I was always full of it. So she wasn't interested in that. She was working with the NHS, do you know what I mean? She was wanting to progress in life. Went cracking holidays together, but every holiday I went, I know I fucked it. Do you know what I mean?
That's it, mate. And it's like the way that when you look at it, and I say the same to Rab, and I say the same to everybody. It's like how many chances did you have to stop it before you eventually stopped?
I had more chances than I deserved.
And that's, of course, mate, and it's funny because, like, with me being health and safety, the minute an accident happens on site, you always look at it and I say, you had that chance to stop it, you had that chance, but you kept going, you kept going. And that's the same with yourself. So you've had your, just going back, mate, with a summary of that, you've had your mum dying when you were an early age, you had your gran and grandpa looking after you, and then your gran passing away as well. But again, with society, you keep drinking and
using to block it out. You know what I mean? You're blocking it, and this is why I wish I listened to my ex, because she kept telling me all this stuff. Go and talk, and I'd be like, I'm not talking. I'm a man. You know what I mean? I don't need to talk. But I was always ratty. I was always taking out on her, and like, no violently, right, but just like shouting and bawling and and fucking. But I was lucky the 2 years drove, because the 2 years could go a wee drive for 10 minutes. Like, she'd go home and I'd go my motor and then come back and it'd be fine. Do you know what I mean?
I'll bet you any money that when you were doing that stuff and you were having the arguments with the missus, when you met up with the boys, the smile came out. Do you know, you were always happy as cheery with the boys? No, honestly,
like, really, this is how everybody knew it affected me, because I really did love her, do you know what I mean? And it really hurt me, and it took me. It really only took, and I'm not lying, it took me up until this year to unlock. I probably still do love her, right? But it took me this long to realise she was right. Do you know what I mean? I'd done everything I'd ever done in my life as a kid. Our mum and dad did like darts in the house, pool. We went out and done family things that I never done, because I was brought up old school. So it was like my granddad would come in from work, 6 o'clock news, dinner on the couch, I'm up the stair playing the Xbox. So they done family things, and I loved that about them. And it has made me the person I'm all the day as well, because I know that they were trying to help me, and I knew I just didn't know I needed help in talking at that time.
It's funny with that. I mean, I said to Rab the last time, there was something that I was reading, and it's fantastic. You like it and it'll resonate with you. It's like the changes that you make to your life today don't just impact your future, but they also impact your past. So when you stop, when you chuck the drink, when you do become a parent and a grandparent and all the rest of it, that is influencing your future.
Definitely.
But it'll also affect your grandpa. It'll also affect the relationships, because, and as I said, me and my dad were drinking buddies for years and years. And my dad hardly drinks now. Do you know? I'm not saying that my dad was a bloody alcoholic.
My granddad doesn't drink much either anymore.
But there you go. So it's changing. The changes you make to your life are impacting your future, but they're also impacting your past, because your grandpa is looking at you now and going, well, I'm not saying that's the man I want to be, but you're influencing your grandpa subconsciously.
I said to him yesterday, I said, I'm getting a Menage pie out in February. I said, do you want to go on holiday? But we'll not go all inclusive because none of us are drinking. Do you know what I mean? But in my head it was always all inclusive, because it was all about drink.
How much drink you could drink.
Do you know what I mean?
Nah, that's it, mate. So listen, when did you, I know this is a hard one, mate, and you said your missus had left about 2 and a bit years ago.
About a year ago, and
So
then I jump into a rebound after it right away, just to try and see if I was if it was I did love it or not, and I was like, no, not ready for that. But during that time, I was in the process of COVID, back at work. The government weren't giving me what I was supposed to get. I couldn't manage my bills. I was managing my rent just to pay the rent, but I wasn't managing like council tax, gas, lecky, then all my drugs and my drink. That always came first, right? And I was always and I was gambling like mad. They all know I was gambling as well, but I've banned myself for 5 years. You can go into GameStop, by the way, and ban yourself online. You can go into the casino, or you can go into shops and ban yourself for getting in for a certain amount of time, and it has done me the world of good. That's
important what Scott's saying there, guys, because listen, the drink, for as much as the drink and the drugs and smoking as well, that all comes in hand, but if you're prone to having a wee punt, like I like a wee gamble, but it's like a fiver bet builder. But I know a lot of the guys, and I know it from myself, that I would go out and chase it, and I'd put £100 on a Chilean football match at 2 in the morning when I was mad with it, do you know, and going,
remember the virtuals that were out during COVID? Virtual football. What the hell, do you know what I mean? We stick men running about, boom!
And it's like, as my dad says, you bet on the price with that stuff. You bet on the price, you don't bet on the value, because there is no value in a computer.
I remember once having it in the bookies at 5 to 10, and there was a trap free. That was always my number with the dogs, right? There was a trap free at 100 to 1, and I stuck £100 in it, and it came in.
Aye,
and I'm all party, but do you know where the money went? Back into the casino again, or wherever it went. It was
the same.
That's £100, 100 to 1. It was like £10 or something.
I've got one of my mates, and he won big at the riverboat. And it was that mad weight and the cocaine. He phoned me up, and it was a Sunday night, tell a lie, and I was putting the kids into bed, and he phoned me up, and I'm not going to mention his name because I'm embarrassing, but he said, okay, come on out, jump a taxi, and I went, the kids on bed. As you say, you think you're invincible. Okay, come out, big pile of coke, and he ended up, he got kicked out the casino. He won something like £1,600, but he get kicked out of the casino. He was trying to tip the barmaid fucking like £1,000 and all that, and it's just guys being Billy Big Boys.
Oh man, honestly, it's mental when you think about it. I was never really materialistic in that sense, but
so you ended up, you were saying, Scott, with the drink, but how long did that keep going for?
This has been happening for like, I was, my granddad's phoning me, I need to take this, alright?
Do you?
Aye.
Aye, on you go, mate, I'll just edit it.
Grand, I'm busy now, can I phone you back? Right, bye. Right, talking about you.
I might just even leave that in, that's you.
That's you, phoning Jackie, boy.
Jackie, shocking, mate.
So like, this has been happening for years. My granddad doesn't even know half of it, do you know what I mean? He's probably watching it now going, what the hell, but I'm better now, and I'm never going back to that hole that I was in, and take my word for that.
See a lot of it as well, Scott, it's about forgiving your past.
But you know what the old ones are like, they hold grudges for so long, you know what I mean?
See, listen, your grandpa, Jackie loves you.
I know that, I know that.
And he loves you, and he'll forgive everything that you've done, mate, right? It's like my mum would forgive me for anything.
I was like my granny had everything for my granddad.
And my mum does that with my dad, sorry. But he knows anyway. But it's like, that's family, that's unconditional love, mate. Do you know? And it's like, as I keep saying to everybody, you can't expect somebody to love you if you don't love yourself.
Exactly.
And that's not in a oh, look at me,
I hate myself for so long. Like, I'm lying in my bed every night with my ex, and I'm like, I hate myself in my head, do you know what I mean? And like, do you know what I mean? It was so hard. But getting back to that this was going on for years, right? And then we moved into that place, right? And then she moved out after a month or two because of just the way I was acting, gave more the chances. And then I kept the flat on it about February 2021 last year, and I said to my granda, I'm broken, I got to the point my head was constantly spinning, right? spinning, couldn't concentrate, couldn't do this, I couldn't do nothing, right? Couldn't move out my bed. I was actually looking at the balcony to make sure the neighbours weren't in their balcony so I could go out for a fag, because I didn't want to see that side of me. They'd only seen the way I'm other than now. You can imagine drinking drugs. I was 100 times higher. I don't know if I can get higher on this, but so I'd say to my granddad, look, I'm getting up the flat, I'm moving back in, it's only for a short period of time, I promise I'll get back into work. But I think I fell back into my comfort zone of my granddad's because I'd stayed there all my life, and a lot of bad memories, good memories but turned into bad memories because obviously we'd split up. And I was just lying there every night wanting to kill myself, right? And I'd been googling for 6 months how to kill myself, how to do this, how to do that. And that progressed, and my granddad's trying to phone doctors, and I'm against the doctors because of the way my man Dad were. I'll just get labelled like them. Oh. So it got, and Manny's always worked in a mental health hospital, and she told me for months, please Scott, change, talk. You're going to need a tablet for a wee while to get you better. If you don't, you're going to end up where I work, right? So March the 21st, and it was so weird because that was my ex's birthday, right? And I didn't know it was that day. But my subconscious mind must have knew. Rangers beat Celtic 1-0, should have been the happiest guy in the world, right, back then. And I said to my granddad, and I'd already planned what I was going to do. So I said to my granddad, look, I love you a bit, so see you later. He said, where are you going? You've not been at the house in weeks and weeks. I said, I've got to see my mate Andy. But I did go to Andy's door and he wasn't in, right? I went, oh fuck it, what a show. I went to 4 different shops and bought different paracetamols, and it was 10:30 at night, I get found and took all the paracetamol, drank a half bottle of vodka, and I think I woke up 2 days later in the ICU or whatever I was, and see the guilt and the regret that I had, because deep down I didn't want to die, I just wanted this pain to end, right? And I woke up and I had the whole, you need to phone your family, and I'm like, no, you need to phone them, like the hospital. I says, I can't phone them. I says, I don't know what to say, I've nearly just tried to take my own life. So I got out the hospital, back into my granddad's again, and that's what I mean, Grandad's so sorry for putting you through all the heartache and pain, because when I look back at it now, like, he couldn't go up the stairs in the house, right? I'm up there for 6 months, lying like a vegetable. I was waiting till he went down the bowling club before I went down for a packet of crisps and a wee slice of toast. I was driving to I still drove at the time, right? And I was driving to McDonald's at night to get a cheeseburger. And then he's phoning me 15 minutes later, where are you? I'm still coming, because he just had that worry that I was out to do something daft again.
It's, as I say, mate, it's like your grandpa and everybody loves you.
Everybody wanted to help me, and I forgot to mention my auntie there. She was coming up from England every 2 weeks to help me, because and honestly, my auntie, I'm not saying names, but my auntie from England, without her as well, and my other auntie that stays here, I wouldn't have been able to do it without these, because my granddad didn't know what to do, I didn't know what to do, he's phoning doctors, I'm cancelling appointments. It was just, I wasn't talking to anybody, I wouldn't even talk to them, I wouldn't talk to my pals, I was talking to nobody. So please reach out, because you can't keep this in your head. It only lasts so long, and then you try and do that, you actually end up acting on thoughts.
Scott hit the nail on the head there. It's hiding things. I used to hide a lot of things, a hell of a lot of things, and that's at the end of the day, that's what addicts do. They lie, they cheat, they hide,
they steal, they
I'll tell you just now, that doesn't look like a cocaine addict.
No.
I don't look like an alcoholic. Rob doesn't look like a cocaine addict. None of us do. And you're maybe sitting there thinking like, that's not me. No.
Aye.
It is. Do you know, and what Scott's saying here is get help, ask, that nothing is too important that you need to ask for a bit of help.
So we're just kind of, no finishing it, but we'll finish with last year, what happened there. So finally got the help, went and seen a psychiatrist, and I went missing for 2 weeks, and everybody's here, I know his face, that's been only it was all over Facebook, the news and everything. Went missing in my car. I was actually sleeping at a car park at London Road somewhere, right? And I was, the reason I get fun, my granddad kept getting parking tickets through, right? Sorry. I was in the Premier Inn car park, right, at London Road McDonald's, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get fun here and all that. But so they must have got the parking tickets through, because it says Smack's there for 3 hours and I've been there 2 weeks, right? Or a week, I can't remember how long it was, right?
Where did you go for a dump?
McDonald's in London.
Oh, right, I'll see you would creep in and go for a job.
I loved that. I had a tax return at that point, so I had money, right? But and by the way, at this point, I'm not drinking or taking drugs. I'm totally fighting in my own head, going, I need to stop. How do I stop? I'm not using. Is this going to be me forever? This paranoid head, the hamster's wheel never stopping, right? horrible thoughts, right? My head's like a hamster's wheel every day now, but in a good way, in good thoughts, right?
Of course.
So I knew I had this meeting with my psychiatrist on the Friday. Can't remember the date, must have been July sometime. Everything happens to me in July, I don't know why, right? But maybe the 12th.
The glorious, yes.
The glorious 12th. But I went into this meeting, and this is how bad Police Scotland can be as well. I'd obviously been missing for that amount of time. My friends and big thanks to my other friend Taylor, who took me in for a while because I couldn't stay with my granda because I didn't want to hurt him that long. Started staying with Taylor, and I was doing the same thing. Sleeping all day. He's at his work. He was wanting to get me a job back into work. Couldn't get up out of my bed. Sleeping all day. I wasn't even sleeping. I was just shutting my eyes so I didn't need to talk to him. As bad as it sounds, Taylor, you know what I mean? But
that's the other important thing as well, mate, is you made that decision to change. I made a decision to change. So did Rab. You need to. We can't
live this life forever, this hell and torture.
Nobody will make that decision.
And we can all say I've had a bad life, I've had this trauma's happened and that trauma's happened, but you know what, you need to just face it, speak about it, speak to the right services, because it's not all just about psychiatrists and doctors, right? So I went and seen my meeting, and I walked into the Aaron Centre in Brickton, and I'm sitting, police have come in because I'm missing them, I've got the appointment. Do you know you're missing? I went, well, look at me, I'm like an absolute jakey. I'd not washed in like a week or two. I was stinking, right? The stench was bad, man. What are you going to do when you go out? I said, just going to go back in my car. He said, are you okay? Aye, right, see you later. That was the police away, right? I said, he's going to let my pals know I'm alright. So I goes into the meeting with Gail, a woman who was a psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever. I think she was a psychology side. I said to her, look, I'm broken. Burst out greeting. I says, I can't live like this any longer. If I leave this building, I'm going to do myself in. That was my words. And she says, there's no beds in Glasgow, no mental health beds. And I says, well, I'll not be here tomorrow. 2 minutes later, there's a bed. Right, so that's how low that you need to go. Even though the thoughts were there, I wouldn't have probably, I don't know what I did, I don't know back then, I probably would have tried again or something, just to get the help. This is what I was doing, crying out for help. And it's the mental health services they're overwhelmed, they're understaffed. There's so many people like myself that are crying out to just help, right? So I get into Stop Hill for 6 weeks, and it was like a lie down period for me, right? It was like a chill out, come back to life. My auntie and granddad's come up to visit me out a window with cages on it. You're locked up like an absolute animal. I went in there voluntary, but you can't leave voluntary. You just can't leave.
That's the same with Frank Bruno. He'd said the exact same. He said the people that are lost in the mental health hospitals, you go in and they fill you up with that amount of drugs that you just can't get.
Put me in Valium, diazepam, right, and it chilled me out at night. So like they were trying to say, I actually went for like schizophrenia tests and that, because they were going, well, your man Dad's got it, so you've got it, right? Telling me that I've got it. And I'm like, how's that? Because you didn't move for 6 months, you were catatonic schizophrenia. I went, oh no. So they were trying to give me antipsychotic tablets, and I went, whoa. Putting them under my tongue, waiting to the root, spitting them out, because I knew I wasn't delusional. Well, maybe I was delusional, but I wasn't hearing voices, I wasn't getting all the major symptoms. Maybe a couple of symptoms were fitting in, but that was due to manic depression and major anxiety. But I'd always never believed in mental health, right? Never believed in it because I'd never experienced it. And see, until you experience it, it's bloody real, right? And so I read diazepam at night. I was on metrazepine for 6 months, at the lowest dose. And the reason I stopped them is because I knew I'd done mental health work in that in the past. As soon as that dose stops working, they up it. Then they up it.
Of course they do.
Then it numbs. It just numbs you. Numbs the pain, which is what I wanted at the time. So I was in there, and I went, I want to go back to the East End. And I went, you know what? I hate it and I love it. I moved in the south side for a while and all that while things were good, and back to the East End. So I got a wee temporary furnished flat in Tollcross Road. But see, as soon as I got to the hospital, party mode again, man. I mean, took my 2 pals ransom down to Blackpool, drove down to Blackpool. I says, we're going away for 2 days, we're away for 2 weeks. Blackpool, then Liverpool, then Manchester. what a time, by the way. Like, do you know, but see, because I just got to the hospital, my body was fresh. I started drinking again, right, and then the gear came in, and I'd always wanted to change this for the last 2 years, and it was just, I just couldn't at the time. I'm hanging about with the wrong people. It's so easy to get like that, man. I'll tip you this amount and you can pay me back 20 quid a week and all this shite.
So from
there, this is where it comes.
How many chances?
So that, you know what I mean? And I'm lucky in my life because back in the rave days, back 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I was taking hundreds of Eckies, like 10 a night and all that. And I've got pals that have sadly passed away with one tablet. So then I was on the Valium when I came out for a full year, right up to July, but I was only taking 1 or 2 a night. I went to get my prescription one day and they stopped them. I went, how's that? Luckily enough, I wasn't reliant on them, right? Because that's how people are so bad with street Valium in Glasgow, because the mental health services give you them, the doctor then takes you off them, and you're rattling, right? Well, I wasn't fortunate enough, I was rattling for drinking gear, but no Valium. Thankfully, man, I've got so many pals still to this day that are out, still bouncing out their head, and there's not even any benzos in them, it's all mixed with rats, piss and poison and shit. No. And the black you out.
Again, that's back to you can only help yourself.
Only help yourself.
Do you know? What I was going to say is it's like the black dog. You heard the black dog story?
I think so.
For anybody, look on YouTube and check the black dog. Right, it's a video on YouTube. I think it's Australian or New Zealand, but it talks about depression and how it gets into, and it's a cartoon, but it will say like the big black dog was following me about for months and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is so true, do you know, even for myself, if anybody out there is struggling with depression, advise you watch that film.
Watch anything, watch podcasts. I mean, James English helped me a lot with I know it's all kind of bigger celebrities and gangsters on his, but there's a lot of good mental health podcasts in his. And Flip the Mindset, I've got to mention Big Kenny, man. He's some guy. I'm going to go back into your trading soon, Kenny, but I'm just busy doing it.
And Kenny's
a great guy, man.
Come in here and have the crack with myself.
He's brilliant. Do you know Kenny McKay? Flip the Mindset podcast. Brilliant guy, honestly.
I know the name.
He struggles a lot, man, but he's some boy. He puts everybody else before himself. Like, I learn a lot as to that. But
So for yourself, mate, when did you hit rock bottom?
Well, that was me hitting rock bottom in the hospital and all that, and trying to kill myself, commit suicide. And if it wasn't for my aunties and my granda, honestly, and my close friends, then you know who you are. Because see, when you're off it, you've no pals. Nobody picks up that phone and goes,
no chance.
Do you want to come out for a coffee? But I'll tell you what, this is what really brought me into recovery was Cocaine Anonymous. So because I was still on it right to the 19th of July this year, so I'm not even anywhere near started my journey. But
you've started it.
I've started it, but it's nowhere near even finished. I've still got years and years and years to go to practice.
But see, at the end of the day, mate, and there was a book I was reading the other day, and that's what it says, that especially with the big black dog as well, it never truly leaves.
Once you're an addict, you're always an addict.
And there's times, and I find it, mate, it's never like Seville. I was in Seville and I never had a drop. But there's times when I'm sitting watching the TV. I was speaking to Rab about it last week. Me and Rab met up for a coffee, and I was speaking to Rab, and I said, it's funny, like just watching TV, and I'm going, I can murder a pint. Do you know? And it's mental. It's crazy that it's never the times you would expect, but. Yeah. And I'm saying, mate, that your life, that your journey's well started.
It's well started.
Until the day you pop your
I was in that temporary furnished flat, in Talk Road Road, party life, man, bim bim bim. Anyway, moved out of there to another one in Bailison, because I was like, I can't stay here, I need to go again. So I moved to Bailison, temporary furnished flat again, and that's when I started kind of calming down a bit. Still mad at it, but I was calming down a bit. And I got an offer for a flat in the East End, and I says I'll take it. And when I moved in there, if it wasn't for the lassies down the stairs, I know them, they own their cafe, the hairdressers, wasn't for them help me, even though I was still on it right to July. They were like, Scott, this isn't you, pull out it. And deep down I was dying to go out. I would greet every night in my room behind my door, and I'd be like, please help me. Someday, if there's a God out there and you're real, please go and help me, because I'm done, right? And then I get in I can't remember, somebody said about a Cocaine Anonymous meeting, and I'm like, I'm not an addict and all that, right, as we all say. And I went to these meetings, and I was in and out at first. I was going to the pub for a couple of pints and still going, because they do tell you if you're still using, keep coming back as long as you go. And without Cocaine Anonymous at Parkhead, Burger Street in Nazanin Church, there's a group there on a Monday afternoon where I'm a member, Wednesday night and a Friday night, the Friday Night Fever in that place as well. I could give you all a shout out. There's ones in Hagkildy, Blue Vale, Denison, White Vale Street, Shettleston, St Paul's, the CA Glasgow. That's all you need to Google, CA Glasgow meetings. And without the meetings, they only help you so much, right? you listen to all these stories and you identify with everybody's stories.
Of course.
Everybody's stories are similar. We're just on different journeys and different paths. And that's when I started really digging deep, and I went, right, how did I do this? Because people used to say, eat healthy, go a 10-minute walk, have a coffee, and see at first you're dragging yourself. You don't want to be outside, you're in your comfort zone in your house getting better. You don't want to go a walk, but fresh air is good now, man. Everything, when you're off it for so long, everything smells different, feels different, your taste buds are back, everything tastes good. So battering the meetings, I batter meetings daily and nightly, honestly, day and night I batter them. I've got to just keep doing it, and there's people in recovery for 10, 15, 20 years that still go to meetings because they think that, no, that is, the meetings help, and really, and everybody might laugh at this if you don't know what I'm talking about, and I still don't get God right. I don't get God yet, because I've just got a sponsor. I'm going to go through the 12 steps. They've actually tried to phone me there. I'll phone you back. And what was I saying about the? What was I saying there?
Just talking about the
God. So I need to go for a heart operation, and I got to the hospital 2 weeks ago, and I was walking by the church that I go to my meetings, and it was a Sunday, and the bells were chiming, and I says, I've been saying I'm going to go to church. This is when I met my sponsor, and I went in, and I don't know, it's not going to work for everybody. It's a higher power you believe in, or God, or I'll get to that point eventually in my life, right? But I went in there, and it was just something came over the top of me in there. It just, my body done a mad sensation. I started crying at the back row, like, what's going on? Everybody's so friendly, they're all hugging you, and they're all saying well done for coming, and we'll see you next week. And it was brilliant. That was only 2 weeks ago, and I went last Sunday, and I'll go this Sunday. It was brilliant. And just before I jump ahead, this is how I get into CA meetings. I was absolutely mad with it, right? And I was walking down Tollcross Road, and then there's a old pub called the Charter. Did not know it was a recovery cafe. So I've seen it open, and I'm like, walked in, man, I'm like, going to use attendance, man. They're all doing the fucking I'm like, what's going on? I was like, you got a choir on the night, that's what I said. I got a girl, Charlene, brought us in. She must have seen I was struggling, she must have seen something. I went in, if it wasn't for her pulling me in, I wouldn't know about CA. She gave me a flyer, she went, you need help, son, but in a good way. She was being nice. Fuck off, I don't need help, but what is this? I went up the road and started using it as a snorter, right? That night, and I woke up the next day greeting me again, going, I can't do this. And I read it and it said Cocaine Anonymous, but the bit that I never ripped off.
Exactly. So see with me, mate, right? I'm a firm believer in things happen for a reason.
Yeah, so
right?
I know,
There's
definitely.
a reason I popped onto your WhatsApp, your fucking Instagram. There's a reason for everything, mate, right? Things happen for a reason. You mentioned God there. I mean, me and the missus were walking through Edinburgh last year, just walking, doing a wee bit of shopping and just getting up Princess Street, and the don't hate me for this, there was a big chapel was opened right at the end of Princess Street, and the two of us were walking along, and we went, why is something dragging me in here? And I'm not for any minute going to say I'm going to become Catholic or anything. No. But I something dragged me in here. And there was thousands upon thousands of the wee paper geese, do you know? And it was, see the origami, the Japs do. Japanese origami, and I've still got it in the house. But there was something dragged me and the missus in, and there was thousands of them. I think it was 40,000 for the amount of people that died in Hiroshima when the bomb dropped. And something dragged me in there, and I was sitting there and I was speaking away to people that were in there. There was a Japanese woman. We made some lovely wee geese, wee goose, and the two of us made them. They're still in the house just now. I had a wee blue one, of course, but it's just funny. Like I've always had that in my head that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, no, definitely does. And this is again, my ex told me that everything happens for a reason, and I'm like, why does this happen and why does that happen? And I believe breaking up with her did make me the person I'm of the day. Without that breakup, and if she stuck by me, she'd been hurting for so long, I would still have been the wee fucking arsehole.
But you would have ended, if you hadn't split up with her, you would have ruined her life as well.
And I think I'd already started to ruin her life, do you know what I mean? And I'm so proud of her now where she's came from. She's done amazing, and her wee journey as well, what she's doing with Swimming World, and her mum and that, they're all great people. But so that was that. What was I getting to the end there? The kind of meetings and recovery.
So that's they
do help, and them they needs advice, just message me, come to a meeting with me. You don't need to talk. People think, I don't talk. You don't need to talk. I've took about 5 people to meetings, and now they love them. and they might still be out using and try to get better, but they will eventually snap it in the bud. Snap it in, what do you call it? No, nip it in the bud, sorry, snap it in the bud.
But I think that's the important thing. It isn't, it's like Scott's saying about going to Cocaine Anonymous, it's going to Alcoholics Anonymous.
They're all the same, by the way. Cocaine Anonymous isn't just for, it's not just for cocaine, because in Cocaine Anonymous, it's Alcoholics Anonymous book, because it's been proven to work. It's any addiction, even sex can be an addiction, smoking, coffee, anything that you can't stop doing is an addiction.
Of course. But no, listen, it's...
I just want, if you're going to wrap up, I just want to say one thing. So I heard this at a meeting the other night, for a good friend's dad that's been in recovery. It was his 10-year anniversary birthday the other day, being off at 10 year. And this is how he explained it. So there's a drug addict in the woods, he's in a hole and he's scratching to get out of it. He's asking for help. So a doctor walks by and he throws in, and he says, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, I'm an addict, I'm stuck in this hole and I can't get out. So the doctor throws him a prescription into the hole, takes the tablets, he's still in the hole, he's still dark, he still can't get out it. A priest or a pastor, wherever he walks by, he says a few prayers for him, he says, "Please help me out of this hole," so he prays for him and all that. And he still can't get out, he's getting there slowly, but he still can't get fully out it. And then this drug addict walks by and he looks down and he jumps in the hole beside him, right? And he's like, so the drug addict, and they're looking, he's like, "Why have you jumped in this hole? I can't get out, I'm scratching for days and months and years to get out of this hole. Why are you in here?" And the drug addict looks at me and says, "Because I've been in this hole before and I'll help you out it, and I'm Scott," and that's my story.
That's beautiful, mate.
So that was nice to hear, do you know what
I mean?
I like that, but I had to phone him and say, "What was it you said again?"
Listen,
that was a good ending.
That's something that it's...
Drug addicts, or not even a drug addict, an alcohol, we'll all help each other. But see all the other services that are all getting paid to help, they're only working 9 to 5 and they're here with their families at the end of the night. We're 24/7.
It's true.
For free.
No, it's very, very true, and it is. It's free.
So thanks very much for
having
having us on, Craigie boy.
Excellent, mate. Listen, I say it all the time, it's like, everything happens for a reason. People come into your life for a reason as well. I feel as if I've known you for years. It's just strange the way that works. And listen, look at me as a big brother that'll guide you and help you as much as I can.
Just want to thank everybody for watching as well, and thanks for being supportive to me over the years and seeing the good in the Scot, because I've lost a lot of good friends, and I wouldn't say family, because the family are always family and they always come back, but people that I've ever hurt in the past or let down, I'm deep down for the bottom of my heart apologise, because when I do go through I'm working through this programme, I'll need to make resentments to people and say sorry to folk and that, and
forgive yourself.
I do forgive myself, because I'm not just poor Scott, petty me. I've not had it easy. Yous haven't had it easy, but it's all about life choices, and see if you don't change now, it could be too late one day. But hopefully you can take this on and go, this boy's been in that much of a mess and look at him now. See, I'm nowhere near started or finished. I'm started, but I'm not even anywhere near the halfway line yet.
Keep trying to help people. Yeah. That's what it's all about, mate. Listen,
right,
thanks for coming on, mate.
Buddy,
awesome. Right, guys, thanks. As I say, hit the link and just subscribe and pass this on. Just I know it's a Peter Crouch thing, but listen, pass the pod. If there's anybody you think that would benefit for this, if there's anybody you think would benefit for coming in, sitting, having a chat with myself, by all means, do you know, if you want to see
even if you want to, if you're going out for meals or that, come up and see me Thursday to Sunday in my work at Cafe Asia Muirhead. It's a lovely wee restaurant. So you'll get a juice for free. That's
complimentary juice.
I'm not advertising this. I'm not advertising this swallow. No,
that's
a wee catch up and that.
Listen, guys, thanks very much. Cheers. Bye bye.
Oh,
good buddy.
Ages, man.
Mate.